Okay guys, update. We had some technical difficulties, so I got a little farther without the video going. But I'll catch you guys up real quick. Obviously, front end's gutted. That wall came out that was right here. There was a counter up there on the top. Ended up removing the rest of the electrical that we're not going to use. My wife, say hi. The back end is cut out. That's where you guys left off last time. And we have started the used door that I got from the trailer center here in town. We started mocking it up. It's just kind of got a couple screws in it. We're trying to get some dimensions on how much we have to cut the door down. We figured out we got to gap that corner. So the next task is to get this door mocked up, cut down a couple of panels, and just make sure it all clears everything. It's going to be really close to the AC unit on the top, and it does have the big handle latch here on the bottom. Haven't quite figured out how I'm going to make that work into the floor yet, but we'll get it figured out. I'm just gonna real quick go through what we did after that last video of when the wall got blown out, took the piece off the bottom, and we started installing the door. This will have been the 4th time that I have installed and uninstalled and reinstalled this door. So you can see up here on the top, originally I had the track mounted all the way up to the roof. The problem was the angle that the door comes up at. By the time the panels came up over the top, they were 1, hitting the air conditioner, and 2, we didn't have enough room to miss the spring on the way up. So those got pulled back down. The runners got shortened down here on the bottom, and we lowered those, drilled them back into all the studs. Next thing we did was install the spring up here. We actually had to make this piece to hold the spring still. We made that out of a couple pieces of 3/16 inside the shop, no big deal. We narrowed the panels down, new bolts. We reused the hinges, but half the bolts broke when we pulled it apart. We upgraded to nylock nuts instead of the castles. We shortened the panels down, cut, I want to say somewhere between 1.5 inches and 2 inches off of each side of the panels to get it to center. The door is in the tracks now. The door does not go up on its own. This spring, you can watch a couple of YouTube videos on how to wind the springs up. Per the video I watched, was you count the number of panels, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You do that plus 2 when you go to wind the panels up. Put your spring on, you mark it with the chalk line. You can see my chalk line, so you can count the twists in that and say how many I have 6. So I need to get 2 more, but I don't have the, I need to get some harder bars to spin it with. The rebar that I was spinning with just bent. So the door is installed. It does work. It just isn't, it's too heavy right now to move. All these need to get bucked loose. Again, we need to square it up so it's not trying to go up the track crooked, and it'll make it a lot easier to go up and down. Next step for the back end is going to be the ramps. Let's go show you where the ramps are going to go and what the idea is back there. Okay, so here we are at the back of the trailer. I told you guys in that first video we were going to leave that top 1.5 foot on there for that row of marker lights. So it turns out they would have rested about the middle of that top board, so those had to go. We still have these taillights on the bottom here, which makes us, you know, DOT legal. We got the 3 in the middle. So we're still good as far as California goes. So here's the idea. This is like our little workbench thing. Kind of sits off the back here of the trailer. We are going to, I'm going to make 2 ramps, and we're going to relocate the spare tire, and they're going to slide inside here. You guys can see that's where the tire is now, but I got 44 inches from rail to rail on the inside here. So I'm thinking pretty conservatively we can make 2 20-inch wide ramps and have a couple pieces of angle for them to slide in and slide out. We took some measurements, and looks to me like the ramps are going to need to be at least 12 feet long, 10 feet long, so we can help like the approach and angle, and also cresting the top there so we're not bottoming out. I'm not worried about the crawler. The crawler will walk up this thing with, you know, a couple of old 38s stacked up. But if we do need to put something else inside of it, we will have like 3,500 pound winch mounted in the bottom of the garage. You know, so if something does happen and we do have to winch the crawler inside, or if we got to go out and pick up something else, we can do that. Right now, that's kind of the idea. Right now, I'm just going to make them straight. I would like to make them like an S-turn, like a low bed ramp, to help the approach angle for like a lower clearance vehicle come up, and then flatten out to help, you know, the edge, so you're not coming up here and then dropping over the top to go inside the trailer. That's kind of the idea. That's where we're at right now. We'll just have to, you know, see what happens. Today we're going to work on squaring up the door to the back of the trailer. Plus we're going to install these middle hinges so the panels so they overlap evenly. And we're going to attempt to wind up the spring. You can see the bracket we had to make here in the back to hold the spring tension on. I got that anchored into the studs. That should be good. We need to get 2 more full turns on this spring to get it to go up. So here we go. We got 2 18-inch pieces of mild round stock. I bought a 3-foot section, cut it in half. I tried to do this with some 1/2-inch rebar, and it just didn't have enough tensile strength. It just bends. So we bought this morning, see if this is enough to give us enough leverage to get this door wound up all the way. I would definitely not recommend doing this by yourself. I would hire somebody. That was 1/2 a turn. That was 1/4. That was 1.5. That was 3/4. That was 1. We're gonna go 1.5, and then we're gonna try it. That is getting hard. Like I said, hire somebody else to do this for you. Did that side tighten up?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got another problem. I'm thinking what happened was we got so much torque on this rod that this wheel is rubbing on this mounting bolt right here. And it looks like, if you can see right here on the edge.
You want to show?
So there's our problem right there. We have so much torque on this bar that it's pushing that pulley down, rubbing on the top. So therein lies our next task. Okay, that's as much spring tension as we can get on that without rubbing that bolt. So if that's not enough to get the door up after we get it squared up, then we're taking that whole spring assembly down. Somehow we can put a piece of flat strap across there. From cross member, we can cut that lock down, slide it over 6 inches or so. That'll give us enough room to scoot that pulley over enough to where it doesn't rub on that mount. But that is a whole lot of stuff that we were not planning on doing. I think another thing we have to do is figure out why these are binding up so bad. Let's get these panels out. Did they move that track all the way through this? I think they did. Looks like we're good on our overhead clearance. You can see the panels sagging a little in the middle. That's not helping us any with going down. You can see how when I cut the studs out, we boxed this in with some angle, caught all the studs going across to reinforce this, and then underneath this sheet, I can't pull this one off, but we added a plate on the back side of this to give it a little more structure on the top when we took all this out. You know, you take all that sheeting out and this thing's gonna wanna walk back and forth a lot. So we reinforced it, boxed both sides, came out all right. Still got that piece of 1x on the bottom that we need to get cut loose, get out of the way. And then we have to secure the bottom of these. I left them loose because it seemed like when it came down, there's an offset on the last roller. When the panel comes down, all the panels are straight until right at the end, the last one kicks closed like that to seal it. So we're gonna have to get a piece of rubber, some kind of weather stripping that they make for these. We'll put it in on top, that way that seals up. And then we still have the original one on the bottom, and it looks pretty flat on the bottom where it mates up to it. We should be okay there. Haven't quite figured out how we're gonna lock it yet, but cross that bridge when we get there. But now we got an opening door. Because that hinge looks the same. That one is definitely different. Oh, you know what? This hinge is broken. There's a weld right back there that's busted, and it's letting that open up. And I think that's letting the wheel be farther away from the door than it's supposed to be. So let's take that off and see what it does for us. I had a little pressure on it. Yeah, that hinge is definitely busted. So, broke right across. I don't know if that was allowing it to twist, or if it was allowing the wheel to sit farther away, but we have another hinge. Well, it says Made in America on it, so it must work right. This in further. Some guy's gonna watch this. Does doors for a living. And this guy's doing this 10 times harder than it has to be. If he just did this and did that, then it'd go right back together.
Yeah, well, we can't all know all the things.
Yeah, I'm not just enough to get myself in trouble. So this one's spinning because all these are is flathead. They're just flush. They're panel bolts, flat on one side. They don't have a head that you can grab. Still, you have to wait for it to sink into the wood. So we'll have to go around to the outside, put some pressure on it, get that to snug back up, and then we'll try the door again.
Right there?
Yeah. Push a little harder. Tight.
Good?
Good to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we got play in that one. It's not as tight as it was. So let's see if that helps us get the door. And those all look the same. Okay, and then on this side, all the distance from the track to where the hinge starts, they all look the same. On that other side, this was back in a whole nother almost quarter inch. So let's see if that helps us out. This is definitely going to be a team effort. You're going to have to be on the outside.
Super.
Definitely have enough nylocks.
Alright.
And I had another bag of bolts. No way all these are going to line up. Like, you see how crooked these holes are?
Yeah.
So we're just going to have to get two, get it nice and square,
And then drill new
put
holes.
two in it and re-drill those.
Yeah.
So I'll drill them from this side. You can shove the bolts in from the outside.
Okay.
If you guys don't have one of these things are awesome. Shout out to my buddy Todd, my Snap-on dealer. So magnetic tray. Yeah.
Showing him your hat.
Thanks. $18 a week for the rest of my life. Okay, so obviously this is opened up, but this thing pops out like that for a tray. Like doing a drive shaft or something on the trail, these things are awesome. And they collapse like this when you're done with them. Then if you got two things you gotta do, they break apart. These are pretty sweet, I like these things. You sorry sack of shit. It's way better than it was. We got a roll-up door. It does open and close, not as easy as we'd like it, but let's cross that one off the list and we'll come back to it later.